There were many instances of protest against the establishment of British rule in India. The wars fought by many kings against the British were all in their own self-interest. After the First War of Independence in 1857, many changes and effective reforms were brought in. Improvements in transport and communication, journalism, establishment of organizations, and changes in administration saw people getting engaged in huge numbers in many provinces. Lord Lytton brought in Domestic Papers Control Act in 1878 to exercise control over the Indian publications, and Lord Ripon brought in Ilbert Bill to bring in uniformity in the judicial system. Certain organizations tried to protest against this in Europe and were successful. The freedom struggle assumed a specific direction as a result of protests all over the country. To avoid armed struggle, the British adopted certain strategies. Consequently, the British government declared the supremacy of the Queen in 1858 and announced that Indians were British citizens. Through this step, the British government declared provision of better amenities to Indians. In the subsequent developments, the aristocratic new generation who learnt English started fighting for their rights in a constitutional manner. This led to the establishment of Indian National Congress. Gandhiji Liu, the Christian missionary, and the power of the British was taking control of the whole of northeast India. Knowing about this, Jallian of the Naga tribe, a youngster, built a youth's army to fight against the British. But there was no place for the ladies. So Gandhiji Liu, a young lady, collected ladies of northeastern India and joined Jallian to fight the British. She joined the Haraka religious movement along with Jallian. British government imprisoned Jallian at Silchar jail and later hanged him to death on 29 August 1931. Gandhiji Liu took charge of the army and led the movement against the British. In just 8 months, the British were taken aback. She fought on the lines of guerrilla warfare. The entire villages of Northeast cooperated. Thousands of people joined her army. Some of the traitors gave information about her to the British. MacDonald, who was against her, got information from Dr. Haraloo and imprisoned her. She was in jail from 1932 October 12th till India became free. Haraloo was awarded with Kaiser-e-Hind by the British. Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Punjab witnessed widespread protests against Rowlatt Act. As the protests turned violent, the control over Amritsar city was given to General Dyer. Dyer imposed military rule in the city and banned all demonstrations against the British rule. The protesters had decided to assemble at Jallianwala Bagh. They were not aware of this ban. About 20,000 protesters had assembled in this demonstration against the Rowlatt Act. This peaceful demonstration was in progress in high-walled Jallianwala Bagh, which had narrow entrances. General Dyer arrived at this place without any previous warning with his army and attacked the protesters from all sides with firearms. In this massacre, about 379 people died and thousands suffered serious injuries. This incident is called Jallianwala Bagh tragedy. Non-cooperation movement. In the year 1920, Gandhiji gave a call for a non-cooperation movement against the British. Students supported his call by abstaining from schools and colleges. Lawyers remained away from courts. Indian dignitaries returned all the awards given by the British. Supporting this movement, Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das sacrificed their law careers. During this period, there was a stiff opposition to the visit of the British prince. There were widespread agitations against the visit throughout the country. In the year 1922, police used their force against peaceful protesters. Enraged by this, the people tried to enter the police stations. Police resorted to firing. When their ammunition got exhausted, the police ran into the station. The angry protesters set the police station on fire. About 22 police were burnt alive inside the station. This incident is termed Chauri Chaura incident in history. The incident made Gandhiji unhappy. Gandhiji resented the violent incident and withdrew his non-cooperation movement. Civil disobedience movement. Gandhiji, after assuming the leadership of civil disobedience movement, submitted a Charter of 11 demands to Viceroy Irwin. He had conveyed that if these demands were not met, he would start civil disobedience movement. One of the demands was abolition of tax imposed on salt, but Irwin did not consider Gandhiji's demands. As a result, in the year 1930, Gandhiji traveled from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi in Surat on foot with his followers to produce salt in the seashore. In this manner, he started the civil disobedience movement. Quit India movement. The British government in the year 1942. Quit India movement sent Strafford Cripps to India for peace talks. Cripps' commission put forward certain suggestions in front of Indians, giving dominion status to India, forming a constituent assembly for the purpose, and giving freedom to the states to either join or remain out of the Union were some of the suggestions. These suggestions were not acceptable to Congress. On the 8th of August 1942, the Congress started the Quit India movement. Gandhiji gave a call to the Indians to do or die. In this context, many leaders like Gandhiji, Nehru, Rajendra Prasad, Abul Kalam Azad, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Acharya Kripalani, Kasturba Gandhi, and others were imprisoned. Since most of the Congress leaders were in jail, organizations other than the Congress came into the limelight. This movement paved the way for the emergence of new leaders. Jayaprakash Narayan assumed leadership of the movement. He was a prominent leader of the socialist wing of the Congress. He carried out many revolutionary activities along with his followers throughout India. The socialists implemented their plans through a group titled the Freedom Struggle Front. Through that organization, they imparted training to workers. They urged the people to participate in the freedom struggle. They collected funds and gave a proper direction to the movement. Subhash Chandra Bose, the most prominent among the revolutionary fighters of India, was Subhash Chandra Bose. Although he secured the 4th rank in the Indian Civil Services examination, he rejected the prestigious post in the British service and took an active part in the freedom struggle. He was popularly called Netaji. As a parallel to the peaceful struggle of Gandhiji in the early part of the 1930s, Subhash Chandra Bose was engaged in the attempt to organize Indians settled abroad and equip them for fighting against the British. He traveled to Vienna, Berlin, Rome, Istanbul, and other countries and inspired the Indians there to support their motherland. The rise of communism and socialism in Europe influenced the Congress in India and led to certain changes. Socialist leftist ideology affected many people in the Congress too. In this backdrop, Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose established the Congress Socialist Party in 1934. Desiring to join hands with the enemies of the British and thereby defeat the British, Subhash Chandra Bose escaped from house arrest and left for Germany. He gained the support of the German dictator Hitler to make India free. He tried to establish an army with the help of Indian war criminals in Germany. Through Azad Hind Radio, he broadcast his speeches to the Indians. He joined hands with Ras Behari Bose, who had organized Indians to fight depending on the fate of Japan in the war. Ras Behari Bose has established the military wing of the Indian Independence League at Tokyo and named it Indian National Army. Later, he gave up the leadership of the ENA to Subhash Chandra Bose. At this juncture, Subhash Chandra Bose gave the call, Delhi Chalo. He urged the Indians, give me blood, I will give you freedom. There was a ladies' wing in the INA named Jhansi Regiment. Captain Lakshmi was the commandant of this regiment. In this manner, Subhash had planned a military strategy through Rangoon to capture Delhi, which was in the clutches of the British. By that time, thousands of soldiers of the INA had prepared themselves to occupy Delhi. Towards this end, as per Netaji's command, they began an armed attack on the Burma border. Fierce fighting took place between the British and the INA. In the midst of this, Subhash died in a plane accident. This news has remained controversial ever since. It is believed that the death of Netaji was a hoax. The British Army captured the Burmese capital, Rangoon, and arrested the INA members. Later days saw many attempts of most of the